We got a couple of roster updates, including Chase Claypool being removed from the PUP list, which is a good sign for the Chicago Bears. We've got a couple of signings as well. We're also going to talk about Cole Kmet possibly getting his contract extension during training camp, and Luke Getsy has glowing words when it comes to RoShaun Johnson. We're going to do all that, plus catch up on some of the mailbag right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host here, Haize. You guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the content for today. And first up, Chase Claypool was removed a little over 24 hours after being put on the PUP list. He's been removed from that list, which is a good sign for training camp. Now, I did drop an emergency breaking news update video once that news drops, so you guys can go and check that out if you kind of want my full thoughts. But overall, I'll just summarize it here. Chase Claypool being there and available for the Chicago Bears at the start of training camp is the best thing for all parties involved. It's best for Justin Fields. It's best for Luke Getsy. It's best for Chase Claypool. It's best for the team overall. And so you want Chase Claypool to be there. He has doubters that he wants and needs to prove wrong. And I think that overall you want to put Justin Fields and this offense in the best situation possible by having everybody there ready to go at training camp so you can see what you really have in this team. Like I've said, and I've been extremely clear on, I want to remove all and any doubts when it comes to this Bears offense, and to do that, you have to have everybody ready to go, and that's going to put Justin Fields in the best position. So that's my thought on it. I'm glad that it was nothing too serious. Maybe it's still that soft tissue injury. Who knows? But hopefully Chase Claypool is ready to go. The Chicago Bears have their first complete organized practice today, and that's what we want to see. So we'll get some details out of that. We'll be breaking down tomorrow, of course. But with that said, we also had two additional signings. The Chicago Bears did go ahead and sign wide receiver Isaiah Ford that I talked about on yesterday's daily episode. Don't necessarily see this guy playing a big factor or role in the team overall. I don't even know if he's going to make the final 53-man roster, but at the end of the day, they bring him in. He's kind of a special team specialist over the course of his NFL career so far, so make sure you guys take a look at that. But we also signed former Steelers linebacker Buddy Johnson. Now, Buddy Johnson was a former fourth-round pick by the Steelers in 2021, hasn't been in the NFL too long. He spent time on the Steelers practice squad, and then they released him before training camp last season. It was on a practice squad of another season team last season. But overall, I don't see this as being a huge move for the Chicago Bears. I think overall this guy may not even make the 53-man roster. He may end up on our practice squad as well. And I don't, the Bears are doing something. They're taking a look at a bunch of people. That's what training camp is for, is to bring in guys that you never know. Considering he's young, still has some upside, the Bears could absolutely still find value in him. And so that's probably why they brought him in. Still an extremely young player, doesn't have a lot of plays under his belt. So the Bears could hope, hey, if we luck up and find a gem, that's what you do in training camp. You bring players in, you take a look at what they have. And so that's what I see this in. I don't necessarily see this as the biggest move, or either one of these moves really being players that possibly make that final roster for the Bears. But hey, you never know. I could be wrong on that one. Next up, I do want to talk a little bit about Cole Kmet and his contract situation. Now, it's a bunch of questions. We have a lot of players on this Bears team coming into the season that are up for contract extensions, new contracts that are trying to really find their way. And one of the bigger parts of that is Cole Kmet. Now, Cole Kmet, who's improved every year he's been a Chicago Bear and has turned into one of Justin Fields' best and favorite targets as well. When you look at how often he was able to get into the end zone last season after over a year drought of being able to get to the end zone, I think the Bears also value Cole Kmet highly, right? And so the question is that are any of these players, but Cole Kmet specifically, considering coming in, tight end, fourth year is coming in, 24 years old, will the Chicago Bears go ahead and lock up Cole Kmet during training camp? Now, we used to see a lot of training camp deals signed under the Ryan Pace era. Since Ryan Poles came in, we haven't really seen a lot of that. But considering that the tight end market as well isn't the deepest market as some other positions, the Chicago Bears may be motivated to go ahead and lock in Cole Kmet before he has potentially what is a breakout season and demands even more money, right? So if Cole Kmet is to have the season that I kind of expect of him, right? You guys know, if you've been following us for a while, I said that this is going to be the season Cole Kmet's name gets placed as one of the best tight ends in the game of football. With that said, I do think that the Bears could be motivated to go ahead and try to lock in Cole Kmet. The biggest thing is what that deal would look like for Cole Kmet, right? What's the value for Cole Kmet? And we all know Ryan Poles, when you look at it, it's all about value. That's how he looks at the situation. That's how he looks at players, everything. It's about the overall value he gets out of some of these deals. So when you look at some of the tight end money out there right now, you have Darren Walker at $17 million average salary per year. You have George Kittle at $15 million per year. You have Travis Kelce at $14.3 million per year. So, and that's when you look at kind of the top 10 market, the bottom contract is Zach Ertz with the Cardinals at $10.6 million, right? So overall, you look at that tight end money and you look at Cole Kmet and you have to try to future project what Cole Kmet's going to get. Do I think Cole Kmet's going to get upwards of $10 million on his next contract? This is Ryan Poles we're talking about. I do think he's going to try to make sure that he gets kind of the best value out of that. But I do think you could be looking at a situation in which Cole Kmet gets probably between $8 and $9 million per year, personally. When you look at Kyle Pitts, tight end with the Falcons, he's at $8.27 million. So you want to look at something like that. But again, it really comes down to, do they think that he has that type of upside, right? Do they think that Cole Kmet, like me, is going to be one of the better tight ends in the NFL when it's all said and done? And if it is, they can value him. Right now, Cole Kmet's at $7.5 million average salary per year. So he's going to want to increase that. So I do think going anywhere between that $8 and $10 million range is probably going to be where Cole Kmet is. Also have to look at the fact that the Bears do have money they still have left to use to reach that floor. And so that does extensions do count towards that. They have to spend that money. So I do think they could be motivated to go ahead and re-sign Cole Kmet to an extension. I think if you can get him between that $8.2 to $10 million range, that's that good value. I do think he can eventually outperform that contract as well. He could, him and his agent could want more, but he's definitely going to want to raise. I want to hear from you guys, though. Cole Kmet, as of right now, if you were negotiating a contract with Cole Kmet, what would be the contract that you think would be valuable for Cole Kmet that you'd be willing to sign him on? Probably about 3-4 years I'm looking at as well. Let me know what you guys think on that. All right, let's get into this next one. Luke Getsy, offensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears, was actually caught on camera saying this about RoShaun Johnson.
RoShaun's smooth, too. RoShaun's going to be good. He's going to be a good player. He's a smoother athlete than I thought he was going to be. He's efficient. Catches it well. He'll be fun. Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, focus.
And this is, once again, we've heard nothing but glowing reviews for RoShaun Johnson since he became a Chicago Bear. And it really does seem like the Bears think they got a steal. RoShaun Johnson is coming in with the mindset that he wants to take over and be that running back one. Not necessarily expecting it to happen this season, but when you see the look on their face, you couldn't really see Luke Getsy's face, but there's the fact that the offensive coordinator and head coach are having that conversation about RoShaun Johnson, and that was back from OTAs. The fact of the matter is this: they see a future with RoShaun Johnson and think the world of him. And I think that just bodes well. They got potentially still in RoShaun Johnson. And to see how he develops and to hear how he's talking about being used in the pass and the running game, they're going to be using RoShaun Johnson next season as long as he earns those snaps and stays healthy. But I think that RoShaun Johnson, the sky's the limit for him in a Chicago Bears uniform. And I can't wait to see how this running back room continues to shake out. We've already talked about the fact of Khalil Herbert probably getting that number one running back position, but Dante Foreman, RoShaun Johnson aren't going to give it to him. They're not going to make it easy on him. And Khalil Herbert is going to have to continually perform to hold on to that running back one position. Now, I don't want to overlook Dante Foreman in all of this because best believe Dante Foreman absolutely is going to make his own case to be the running back one as well. But when you have a young running back in the wings like a RoShaun Johnson that this coaching staff thinks the world of, listen, I think that shows that we're going to have a hell of a player in RoShaun Johnson. But okay, let's go ahead and get it. So we have such an overflow. You guys have been going off in the mailbag and the voicemail box. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to catch up on some of the mailbag. We're going to play this first one. This one's from the 815.
Today I wanted to talk about, obviously this topic's been talked to death, signing a veteran DN before training camp or during training camp. And one of the names still out there is Robert Quinn. And I know it's a strange thing to trade somebody mid-season and then bring him back. And I don't know how Robert would feel about that, but Chicago loves Robert. And apparently Robert loves Chicago, so I think we should do it. And the other thing is, think about this. Ryan Poles traded Robert Quinn for a 4th-round draft pick, right? And then they let him go. He doesn't pan out. And then on draft day this past year, they trade a 4th-round pick to the Eagles for absolutely nothing. Howie Roseman even came out and said, well, the Bears didn't have another trade partner. To be honest with you, I don't know why I did it. He knew the Bears weren't taking Carter. So Ryan Poles, if he re-signs Robert Quinn, he will have taken 2 4th-round picks from the Philadelphia Eagles, the best team in the NFC, for absolutely nothing. And that to me is just good business. That just shows you that this guy has a business mind that you don't come across every day in the NFL. I wanted to know what they're going to do in 2025. He's probably going to find Howie Roseman on draft night and then trade his 4th-round pick for a snack pack. This guy could just shake everybody down like you've never seen before. So let me know what you think about Robert Quinn. Also, I just wanted to say, I was watching highlights the other day from this past season, Fields against the Packers, the second game of the season. And Fields threw 2 laser beams to EQ St. Brown and, who was the other one? N'Keal Harry against Jair Alexander. And they love that darling quarterback. But the problem is, he always shuts down Justin Jefferson, but then he gives up 2 bombs. He gets burned by 2 guys that probably couldn't make the cut on 25 to 28 teams. It's just beautiful. And that Jair Alexander, he looks like a goblin. I'm just going to start calling him the Goblin. It really gets underneath Pakistan's skin because they love that guy. All right. I'm going to go now. So, yeah, tell me what your thoughts are. All right. Chicago up, Bear down.
Bringing back Robert Quinn, here's what I'll say. It's not that I'm hugely against it, right? I guess I am in a way. I just don't see well, here's the thing. I see better options being out there for the Chicago Bears than bringing back Robert Quinn, a player that's always had like one good season, one down season, a couple of bad seasons, another good season. I think ultimately, too, that he's getting up there in age, and we just may be seeing Robert Quinn just at that point where he's just falling off. Did I say RoShaun Johnson earlier? Robert Quinn, where he's just falling off. So I would not. I hope the Bears don't go back. Right? I understand the thought process of it. Hell, we talked about Khalil Mack possibly coming back earlier. Like, I understand what he could bring, especially that veteran leadership, the improvements on the defensive line. But I just think there are better options out there with better youth that you can use your 1 year, probably prove it deals on than Robert Quinn. But the second part of your voicemail, yes, Ryan Poles is an absolute genius. He's a financial genius. He's a genius in going out and finding talent. And to have that here now for the Chicago Bears is something that's absolutely fun, right? And it helps look at the future for the Chicago Bears so much brighter by having somebody like Poles who's just smart and goes about their business very methodical, right? And so, yeah, great points on that one, as always. All right, let's get into this next voicemail. This one's from DJ Finesse.
How you doing, my brother Haize and the Cognac Brothers? I really appreciate you guys doing a wonderful job. This is DJ Finesse from Chi-Town and part of the Stolen Sense Records. We're having a picnic at Gary, Indiana at the 22nd of this upcoming Saturday. What I want to say is that don't sleep on the Green Bay Packer quarterback. You know, he's been marinating for the past 3 years. He knows that playbook. I'm not saying that he's a good quarterback or he's a bad quarterback, but he knows that playbook. But by saying that, don't underestimate him. And at the same time, you know, he's not a bad quarterback. He's decent. But the difference between him and Justin Fields is that Justin Fields been on the field for the past 3 years or going on 3 years. That's the difference. And his talent, I believe, is better. But also, point number 2, we got to understand that how Justin Fields is going to blossom. A complete season is 17 games, right? How many games in first season that Justin Fields has as well the second season? He hasn't even had to complete 2 seasons yet. And look how far he has come. So Justin Fields is quite advanced right now. So I'd like to hear you brothers' thought about that. Chicago up and Bear down.
Don't sleep on Jordan Love. Listen, I don't care about the Weasel. You know, and you say he knows that playbook. That's cool. Knowing the playbook is all fine and dandy, and I'm sure it does honestly provide a level of confidence coming in when you're initially coming into your first starts in the NFL. But once you get cracked, right? Once you have a 240-pound defensive lineman running towards you trying to knock off your head, it's a lot different than even in practice and just learning the playbook. And listen, nothing's coming easy for Jordan Love or Justin Fields in that matter. They have to go out and prove it. And the fact that there are 2 extremely young quarterbacks into their careers that are in this division that probably going to be battling out with rivals, right? That rivalry is legitimate. We have Packers fans in the comments all the time here. It's FGB every day over here. So that rivalry and having two young quarterbacks that careers kind of going to hopefully ascend at the same time, listen, that's a storyline made for Bears versus Packers is all I'll say. And yeah, you don't want to sleep on anybody in the NFL. He made it to the NFL for a reason. The Packers have invested in him, but he has to prove it on the field, just like Justin Fields has to, right? Just like Justin Fields. So we'll see how that battle between those two quarterbacks goes over time. I think it's going to be a fun one. All right, let's get into the last voicemail for the day. This one's from Fred.
What up, Haize? How you doing, man? This your boy Fred, man. Shout out to Bobby C. Dub, the Cognac boys, man. I just want to know, man, like, the writers, where do they come up with this crap when they talking about, oh, Claypool is going to be a cut candidate. He doesn't bring nothing to the Bears. Like, they don't understand. This man got traded in the middle of the season. Of course, nobody's not going to know the playbook right away when they get traded, to a team unless that team run the same system that they came from. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, he didn't make a lot of, impact when guys got injured. The man just got there, though. But now we got weapons. Luke Getsy's going to open up that offense, man, like how he wants to. And hopefully that he give us an air attack to go along with the running game. As far as, like, your boy Vildor, we know he getting cut for sure, man. Like, I expect for him to get cut. A couple of guys, don't make the roster that we don't need on the roster that's just taking up, space and money and bench space as well, too. But I think, man, the Bears, they gonna, cut, guys like who fits, our culture and everything. But to them writers that's out there, talking shit, I just say middle fingers to them because they don't be knowing what the hell they talking about. And it's like writers and everybody hate on the Bears so much. Like, why are we the most hated team? Like, I don't understand that, though. Maybe because we was the first founder of the NFL or something. I don't know. But they can miss me with all that hating ass bullshit, though, man. But I think, Walker, he gonna lead the team to sacks. Gibson, I'm kind of like, I don't know, man. Maybe have a bounce back year. I don't know. But long as Vildor ass ain't on the team, and hell, I wouldn't mind seeing Bailey Jones get cut because shit, he haven't done shit but fumble the goddamn ball. So what's the point of keeping him, on the team or whatever? And we got that boy Tyler Scott. So, man, let me know what you think, man. Chicago up, bear down, and middle finger to all them haters.
Listen, where do writers come up with their headlines? Here's what I'll say. And I know I've shitted a lot on the national media, but I'm going to have a more logical way to address it today. The fact of the matter is this. If you just came out, if any writer comes out and says, oh, well, Justin Fields has some things to prove, it's not going to get as many clicks, anything else, as being Justin Fields is a potential. Can Justin Fields avoid being a bust? Right? And I think that with the microwave mindset that we have and how people consume content so quickly, and you have to kind of gauge headlines and also think about what's going to get the clicks on social media and get the notice there, that we see these hard line takes that I believe if you caught some of the writers, they don't even necessarily aren't as harsh as what some of their articles are written on. And especially when you look at Chase Claypool. Yes, there is a right to have some doubt around Chase Claypool. There absolutely is. But when you also look at the fact of, just what Chase Claypool is, what he's done, and I think that, yes, you're going to get some people that embellish that a little bit to get the clicks, but the national media also is filled with a bunch of idiots. It just is. So, there's doubt around Chase Claypool, but Chase Claypool hears that doubt as well, and he's going to want to prove those doubters wrong more than any of us can. Now, as far as Luke Getsy opening up that playbook, he has no excuses not to. We have the much improved offensive line. Still some questions, absolutely. Darnell Wright is probably going to get blown up a couple of times on the offensive line to start off his career. It happens, right? But you have now weapons in the wide receiver. You have weapons in tight end. You have weapons in running back, right? The offensive line is probably the biggest question mark we have on that offensive side of the ball, as well as some people, wondering how Justin Fields is going to grow as a passer as well. So Luke Getsy absolutely, hopefully, is going to open up that playbook because we need it. We deserve it. The players deserve it. And I think it's going to make for an exciting brand of football. So, yeah, hopefully Luke Getsy comes in really opening up that playbook, and we really get to see what he can be as an offensive coordinator next year. As far as Vildor getting cut, get his ass up out of my city. But that's it. That's my time for today. Make sure you guys are following the show at Shy Bear Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail, for our mailbag episodes. The number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related because of you guys. And like I like to end every episode on. Chi-Town up, but bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.